Good morning, friends. Over the last couple of days, we have been discussing how to identify if somebody has what it takes to be a leader, and then once identified, how do you grow somebody into a great leader? I want to clear something up here this morning. I think many people misunderstand the differences between a manager and a leader. And before we begin, let me say up front, you need both. They both serve vital roles in growing and building and maintaining a successful and endurable enterprise. Look, a leader without an effective manager is just chaos. And a manager without a leader is, well, the government or any institution without vision, vitality, and courage. So let's properly distinguish between the two roles. Peter Drucker and Warren Bennis, two of the most respected names in business history, put it this way. Leadership is figuring out the right things to do. Management is doing those things right. Effective leadership has to do with quality, the right direction to take. Effective management has to do with efficiency, minimizing the time and resources that it takes to get there. Simply put, a leader figures out the what, where, and why, and the manager figures out how and by when. A leader casts a vision for what's possible. She paints the picture of that better future, the grand destination that you will soon arrive at, and the magnificent adventure to be had along the way. She recruits and enrolls the best and the brightest into that glorious dream, and builds a culture that nurtures and allows top talent to thrive. A manager makes sure that the train shows up on time and is fully stocked with all the supplies nobody else thought ahead to prepare. And the manager makes sure everybody does their part, as they are supposed to, on time, with excellence, day in and day out, and that the resources don't run dry along the way. Leaders are concerned with people. Managers are concerned with process. Leaders lead people. Managers manage work. People follow leaders. People report to managers. Some other distinctions are this. A leader keeps their eyes on the horizon. A manager keeps their eyes on the bottom line. A leader champions a vision. A manager drives goals. A leader sells people on ideas and audacious ambitions and goals. A manager tells people what to do and the quotas to meet. A leader takes risks. A manager minimizes those risks. A leader challenges the status quo. A manager maintains that status quo. A leader thinks long-term. A manager thinks short-term. A leader charts new roads. A manager follows a map. A leader votes with their heart. A manager votes with their head. It is easy to tell when you have a manager trying to be a leader. The enterprise just stalls, it stagnates, or it barely subsists. It goes into what is known as management mode. Most government, religious institutions, and large corporations are in that mode. Why? Because they have managers in leadership roles. When a leader tries to play a manager role, other problems arise as well. I had this discussion with a friend of mine. He oversees a large global corporation. When we were talking, I explained these differences between a leader and a manager, and his eyes got wide. He realized instantly that he had been operating as a manager. He was spending most of his time managing the day-to-day operations. He was way down in the weeds. He was personally working with each of his managers to ensure production and manufacturing was performing optimally. After our discussion, he started to operate far differently. He stepped out of inspecting and overseeing the day-to-day operational work and started spending time looking at the direction of the company. He examined industry trends and consumer data, looking for leverage points and discovering what his company should be doing in order to stay competitive and gain the advantage down the road. He started spending a lot more time looking for and cultivating great talent from within his organization and new players that he brought in. He made big investments to develop his people and stimulate engagement in his culture. The result? After years of slogging and stagnant growth, corporate profits grew more than 50% in a single year. 1 year, 50% increase in profits, all because he got clear about his role, the role of being a leader versus doing the job of a manager. So, have you been operating as a manager or as a leader? Do you need to be a manager or do you need to be a leader? When you look at your enterprise, where do you need managers and where do you need leaders? And are the right people in the right roles doing the right things? I encourage you to take a really close look. There are a lot of these very important distinctions to make about leading teams and enterprises. This is just the stuff that I'm discussing with you here on Darren Daily for free. Imagine the depth of key insights and strategies inside a paid membership and development program like the Hero's Journey. What's inside there is nothing we could even possibly discuss here. It requires going deep with you in some of these strategies and tactics. So if you are not yet enrolled and want to be, just go to heroesjourney.com right now. And for your Darren Daily Journal, and in the comments below, have you been operating as a manager or as a leader? What do you need to do going forward? And what do you need in your organization to take your growth to the next level? Share that with us in the comments below after you make some notes in your Darren Daily Journal.
Hey there, Allie from the A-Team here. Now, I hope that you've really been enjoying this deep dive into leadership that Darren has taken in his mentor sessions these past few days. Now, you've heard him mention Hero's Journey a few times now. Hero's Journey is a year-long transformative leadership training program with over 60 plus hours of content and a community of 5,000 plus leaders joined together to become more effective and influential leaders. Now, one of our Hero's Journey alums, David Strange, shared this with us about his experience.
Right away, right when we got into it, I immediately started seeing an impact in myself and in the team. It radically changed my life, maybe a better father, better husband. The year that I went through the Hero's Journey, we actually finished the best year in the history of our company. And as far as I'm concerned, it's probably one of the single greatest impactors on my life personally and the success of my family, our team, and our company.
Well, I invite you to join David and the community of leaders just like yourself inside the Hero's Journey. Just click the link below or go to heroesjourney.com to start your own heroic adventure today.